What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. It's time for my post-spring top 25 poll. We did a way too early top 25, then we did a pre-spring top 25. We just went through and did our post-spring power ranking. So if you watch those videos, you've probably got a decent idea of how I'm going to rank these teams. Have made some changes since the pre-spring poll. We've now changed our number one team. There have been some changes at the top, some changes at the bottom, and let's just get into it here. So we'll start at the bottom with 21 through 25. So Liberty comes in at number 25. It was between Liberty and Coastal Carolina for that final spot. Liberty beat them in the bowl game last year. Both teams have a lot coming back. Both teams could be really good this year. But when I start to look at a team like Liberty, and I think they're going to be good, but could they beat USC? Could they beat Ole Miss? Could they beat Washington? I mean, they could, but I would probably favor those teams. So Liberty, for me, is a team that deserves to be in the top 25. They're going to be one of the top non-Power 5 teams in the country. They won't have a shot at the New Year's Six, though, unless they do something like go undefeated, because the New Year's Six takes the top-ranked Group of 5 champion, and Liberty is not in a conference. So if you're wondering about that, yeah, they might be the best team outside of the Power 5, but unless they can crack the top 12 or so, probably not going to go to a New Year's Six bowl. So keep that in mind for Liberty. USC at number 24, team that has the talent. I just, again, wonder about how it's all going to come together for them. You go back to last year, they were really fortunate in several of their games. Didn't finish the season very strong. They've got the talent again. Keaton Slovis is back at quarterback. They've added some transfers in there. They've lost some guys, but overall, they're probably the second most talented team in the Pac-12. For whatever reason, it just has not clicked with USC. Will it click this year? And they're a team that could possibly finish in the top 10 or could possibly finish outside the top 25. Just too many questions for me. They've just been too inconsistent, and I don't want to overhype this team, although I think they have the potential to be really good. I have dropped them a little bit here to number 24. Louisiana at number 23. I think they've dropped a little bit for me just because I feel better about some of these other Power 5 teams. But yeah, Louisiana going to be a really, really tough team to beat this year. Texas will play them in week 1, and that is going to be, I think, a really hard game for Texas. Wouldn't be surprised at all if Louisiana pulls off an upset there. But yeah, you look at that game, that's going to be a big one. Louisiana with opportunity to maybe be that top-ranked Group of 5 champion at the end of the season. If they could run the table and go undefeated, of course, you're going to have some tough competition from a team like Cincinnati, or maybe UCF out of the American Conference. But look for Louisiana to finish in the top 25. I think that they are that good, and they're a very experienced team. One of the most experienced teams coming back this year, and maybe number one. They actually might have been number one on that list. So watch out for Louisiana. Ole Miss at number 22. The more I see this Ole Miss team, the more I look into them, the more I think that this team has a chance to make some noise this year. Offensively, we know they're going to be dangerous. Matt Corral back at quarterback, Lane Kiffin calling the plays, Ely back at running back, one of the top running backs in the SEC. Just talent all over the place. The offensive line, I think, will be better this year. So they're going to score points. I think there's really no doubt about that. It's going to come down to the defense. If they're going to take that next step, climb maybe into the top 15 or so this year, the defense is going to have to get better. I think they'll improve some this year, but not enough to be a real contender in the SEC West, but a team that I think will finish in the top 25. And then we have Washington at number 21. Defense is not going to be a problem for them. They are loaded on that side of the ball. Going to be a really tough team to score on. They've settled in on a quarterback now. Offensively, they're not going to probably score a ton of points, but I think they'll score enough points with that defense to where they're going to be really good, and they're going to have a chance in the Pac-12 North. Everyone's just assuming it's going to be Oregon. Now watch out for Washington. They, I think, can really challenge them in that division. At number 20, we've got Penn State. Penn State finished strong last year. A lot of guys coming back. I think that they bounce back this season, maybe even finish higher than this. It's hard to say. They've had a lot of guys transfer out of there the last few years. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know how the culture is there. They're starting to lose the locker room. It's hard to say. I think the way they finished last year, though, they won those games, all those games in a row. That tells you that things are heading back in the right direction. I think that they will carry that momentum over to this season. But you're going to have some tough teams in that division in Ohio State and Indiana. That might keep them from climbing too high in these polls. I've got them here at number 20. Arizona State at number 19, a team that I am really liking. The more I look at this team, I think that they are going to be really good. Jaden Daniels back at quarterback, some young talent around him on offense. Defense should be pretty strong. A lot of production coming back for Arizona State. Watch out for them in the Pac-12. Iowa at number 18. We know they're going to be solid. We know they're going to be a good team. Will they take that next step and be a great team? I'm a little hesitant on that. You've got your quarterback coming back who was okay for them last year. He should improve this year. Defensively, they should be pretty strong. They lost some key players on the offensive line and defensive line. That worries me a little bit, but plenty of talent on this team. We know they're going to be well coached. They're going to play solid defense. They're going to be able to run the football, and they're going to be just a team that's tough to beat. Texas at number 17, a team with a lot of potential with Steve Sarkisian coming in. They're going to have a chance to make a big jump this year. Will they do it? It's hard to say. It takes some time. It takes some time when you get a new coaching staff, a new scheme. They're doing that on both sides of the ball. So I'm a little hesitant on Texas. I think they could have a rough year, could finish outside the top 25. But again, they have that potential to be a top 10 team. They've got talent. And they have the talent to be second in the Big 12 this year. So I'm going to kind of rank them in the middle of where I think they could have potential to be or potentially could drop. I think Texas at number 17 is pretty fair. Wisconsin at number 16. A lot of guys coming back for them last year. Had a lot of injuries to wide receivers during the year last season. They had to deal with COVID as well and had a lot of guys out. I think it really messed them up last year. We saw them at the beginning of the year look like a top 10 team. Graham Mertz is back at quarterback. Got his running back as well. These receivers, if they can stay healthy. Wisconsin has a chance to be really good on offense and pretty strong on defense as well. I think they're the favorites in the Big Ten West, not by a lot, but I'm going to rank them higher than anyone else in that division. Let's go to the 11 through 15 here. Florida at number 15. Florida's interesting. Florida's very interesting. You look at that defense, they were not great last year. They're expecting to be much improved this season. Will it happen? I don't know. We'll see. Offensively, though, that's where they're really intriguing because it's going to be such a different offense. They're going to lean on the run game so much more this year. They've got a really, really talented group of running backs. Also, Emory Jones, of course, going to be more of a runner. If they can be a little bit more balanced, though, and still throw the football, this Florida offense has a chance to be really, really good once again. And if the defense can take that next step, Florida, they could be a top 10 team. We're going to find out just how good of a coach Dan Mullen is this year. If he can get this team up into the top 10 with all that they lost, I think that would say a lot about him. Notre Dame at number 14, another team with a lot of question marks. It's kind of Notre Dame and Florida to me are really similar. And with Florida, I'm not really too concerned with the offense. A little bit worried still about that defense. With Notre Dame, I'm not concerned with the defense. They're going to be very strong on that side of the ball. Offensively, though, you wonder about that. Jack Cohn coming in, expected to be the starter. They should be able to run the football, although they did lose some guys on the offensive line. Wide receiver position, the explosiveness on offense, that's what Notre Dame has been missing. If they can find that, I think this team can climb up into the top 10 and maybe even be in that playoff conversation. But that's going to be the big key for them. Miami at number 13, a lot of production coming back. De'Aaron King, if he can get back healthy, coming back from his injury, the offense should be really strong for them. Defensively, I think they should be pretty good. I don't think they're going to be great on defense. A lot of guys coming back, yes, but they don't have a lot of guys that you say, yeah, that's a guy that's going to play on Sundays. So they'll be very good on defense, and I think they have a chance to be really explosive on offense. They're the team that's going to have a chance to knock off North Carolina in that Coastal Division. We'll see if they can do it. Indiana at number 12. People keep saying I'm overrating this team. I disagree. I really like Indiana. I think they could be potentially even a top 10 team this year, a New Year's Six team potentially. Penix back at quarterback. He is ahead of schedule, rehabbing from his injury. They just brought in Stephen Carr from USC at running back. I think he's going to immediately give them a boost there. Got some talent all around the place on offense. They're going to be explosive there. They're coached really well on defense. You expect them to be pretty strong there as well. Indiana could really make some noise this year. Are they going to be good enough to possibly challenge Ohio State? I don't know, but if a team can do it, I think it is going to be Indiana. Number 11 for me is Oregon. It's all about the quarterback. That's what that's what's going to decide the season for Oregon. They've got the talent. I mean, they recruited really well. No one else is even close to them in the Pac-12 from a talent standpoint. Defensively, they should be really, really good. Kayvon Thibodeau could be maybe the best defensive player in the country this year. But offensively, that quarterback spot, Anthony Brown takes over. Is he going to give them what they need in the passing game? That is the one area I'm concerned about them. I think they'll be able to run the football. They had a really young offensive line. Those guys will be better this year. But if they can throw the football, similar to Florida, if they can throw the football and be balanced, Oregon becomes a team that can take that next step and possibly even be a playoff contender. I have my questions about that, though. So for now, we're going to put Oregon at number 11. 6 through 10 here. LSU at number 10 for me. People thinking that maybe I'm overrating this team, but when you just look at the roster and you look at the talent and now potentially getting Eric Gilbert back at tight end, if he does decide to come back to LSU, wow, this offense is going to be dangerous. If I'm not going to say 2019 good, but I think they have a chance to be close to that. There is plenty of talent, a lot of guys coming back this year. Last year was a very young team. This year is a very experienced team. Defensively, they should be pretty strong, especially on the defensive line and at corners. Probably the top 1-2 punch at cornerback in all of the country. So there are the pieces there for LSU. If Miles Brennan or Max Johnson, whoever's the starting quarterback, can be a top-tier quarterback this year, LSU could crash that playoff party. Watch out for the Tigers. Cincinnati at number 9, a lot of production coming back for them. They're going to get their big games this year. They'll have both Notre Dame and Indiana on the schedule. They can win those games. They can run the table. Potentially, we could see Cincinnati in the college football playoff. North Carolina at number 8. A young defense last year. We saw them kind of grow up as the season progressed offensively. And we know they were explosive last season. They lost some guys, some key guys to that offense. But Sam Howell is back. I think they will be good enough on that side of the ball with an improved defense to where North Carolina could be the team that might have a chance to challenge Clemson in the ACC this year. Texas A&M at number 7. I have my doubts about this team being a top-tier team, being a team that can knock off Alabama or maybe get to the SEC championship. I have my doubts, but as far as that next tier goes, that second tier, they might be the best team in that second tier. The defense is going to be really strong for them. They should be one of the top defenses in the SEC. Offensively, they're going to be able to run the football. They've got a three-headed monster back there. Some offensive linemen are gone, but I think they have the talent there. They've recruited at a really high level. It's the passing game. Haynes King, assuming he's the starting quarterback, what is he going to be able to do in that passing game? And what are these receivers going to do to help him out? That's been an area where they've struggled a little bit the last few years. They used to have great wide receivers. Just go back a few years, and Texas A&M had some of the best wide receivers in the SEC. It hasn't been that way as of late. So that passing game, if they can take that next step there, then I think Texas A&M has a chance to be a top-tier team this year. But that's the one thing that they are lacking. Iowa State at number 6. I actually have them ranked as the highest team on that second tier. So much production coming back. Brock Purdy, Breece Hall, Charlie Kohler at times. They are loaded with talent and experience coming back. They're the team that I think has a shot to challenge Oklahoma. And if they can win the Big 12 with one loss or even go undefeated, we're going to see Iowa State in the college football playoff this year. Don't sleep on the Cyclones. Our top 5, though, is the same 5 teams. I've just put them in a little bit different order. These teams, to me, are clearly the top 5 teams. I don't think you can even make an argument for another team being in the top 5. We have got a clear-cut top 5, and it's going to be interesting to see, assuming it comes down to these 5 teams, which 4 of these 5 teams make it into the college football playoff. If I'm going to rank them on how good I think they are post-spring, this is how I'd rank them. So based off of that, Ohio State would be left out. That's not a prediction, because obviously a lot of things have to happen. The schedules are different. We have conference championship games, all of that. But I think I would put them at number 5 just because of some questions on defense. The back 7, question marks there. Offensively, I don't have any questions. They're going to be really, really good. I don't have a problem with their quarterback situation. I think out of 3 guys, one of them is going to emerge and be really good. You got a really good group of running backs, best group of wide receivers, I think, in the country. Offensive line is strong. So Ohio State's going to be really good. If they can answer some of those questions on defense, that's what's going to make them allow them to potentially make a run at a national championship this year. Georgia at number 4. Losing George Pickens hurts. They got plenty of talent, though, at wide receiver. If they can stay healthy, I'm not too concerned. JT Daniels at quarterback has a chance to be the top quarterback, I think, in the SEC. Loaded at running back, loaded on defense. Some question marks in the secondary. They lost some guys there. So that'll be a little bit of a concern for Georgia, but they've recruited at such a high level. I trust Kirby Smart. I think the defense will be just fine. Oklahoma for me at number 3. Really no question marks. They're loaded on both sides of the ball. Offensively, they should be really good once again. Defensively, they should be strong this year. Not a weakness of this team anymore, especially on that defensive line. They're going to be really good there. Clemson at number 2. I have dropped them. I think I had them at number 1 in the pre-spring. Alabama now number 1. Clemson, though, I have no issues with DJ Uiagalelei at quarterback. I think he's going to be fantastic. Offensive line should be improved for them. Running back, they've got a stable of backs back there. I think they're going to be okay. Everyone's freaking out about Travis Etienne leaving. I don't really have any concerns about that running back group. Wide receivers, they have a chance to be, maybe the second best group behind Ohio State. They have a lot of young talent. We'll see if they can step up there with those young wide receivers. Justin Ross coming back obviously is going to be a big boost. Defensive line is going to be maybe the best in the country. Experience back at linebacker. Secondary, a little bit of a concern, similar to Georgia, but I think Clemson is going to be just fine. I think Clemson is your second best team, but Alabama has moved up to number 1. Bryce Young looked really good in the spring game. They've added some transfer. Jamison Williams gives them some experience at wide receiver. You add in Henry Tuotuo at linebacker from Tennessee. I mean, they just got even better through the transfer portal. And to me, with Nick Saban, with all this talent, Alabama has to be the post-spring number 1 team in the country. That's my post-spring top 25. Again, we made some changes since the spring one, or the pre-spring one, and we will do another top 25 right before the season starts. And you can expect some changes in that top 25 poll as well as things progress through the offseason. I would love to know what you guys think about my poll. Give me your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports College Football Channel.